And this panel, big pressure. Tournament of Champions is coming up next week. Woo! Could this be the panel that advances the Tournament of Champions? The tournament. New Orleans naming Drew Brees starter for the game Sunday versus Kansas City. An interesting thing about it, Diana Russini, points for everybody, for her with the scoop, reporting they made the decision on Monday or Tuesday. The world only finding out about it today, so good job. No loose lips sink ships in that locker room. Also, maybe that changes the way you see it. He's been cleared and prepped with the team all week. But Russini also reporting, her source making it clear, Brees is not 100%. He's 85 to 90%. Huge game for the number one seed in both conferences. Sarah Spain around the horn to you. What do you think of the Brees start? Does it give the Saints a better chance Sunday?
Of course it does. Absolutely. Because even though they still probably want to attack with the run, because that's a weakness for the Chiefs defense, it doesn't mean that it still isn't better to have Drew Brees out there because you're able to use your entire package. And if he's not 100%, that's the thing that worries me the most. This is a team that doesn't want to go to Lambeau in January and play the Packers on the road. I get that. So they want to win this game. But more important than winning this game is winning that game against the Packers wherever it is or whoever it is they face in the playoffs. So if he's not 100%, nay, if he's not 110%, that fictional thing that we would need him to be for me to feel comfortable with this, I just don't think it's worth the risk. It does give him a better shot, but I still have the Chiefs in this game even with Brees.
So Sarah wouldn't start Drew Brees Sunday. Clinton Yates, the Saints are. How do you feel about that?
I wouldn't start Drew Brees Sunday, and I wouldn't care if he was even 100%. My goal would be to be playing Drew Brees in the playoffs, which is what you got all those wins for before. Taysom Hill, what's the point of having him run all these plays and start all these games if you don't think that he can get you to where you need to be? Number two, from a schematic standpoint, people talk about the KC defense. How do you think that the Saints are going to get their offense to work well? It's not going to be Drew Brees picking people apart. We know how he doesn't throw the ball that long. It's going to be through play action. Guess what? The Chiefs have the best play action defense in the league. So no, schematically, I would not have him in there either. I just don't think this adds up. I think it's too much of a risk at this point of the season.
Frank Isola, that's two saying Brees shouldn't be starting Sunday. Where are you on this?
I mean, he gives them their best chance to win. Of course he should be out there. They're going for the best record in the NFC. They want to try to get that bye. They want to try to play just 2 home playoff games to get to the Super Bowl. By the way, Tony, the reason it didn't get leaked out, there's no locker room access. So if you're not in the locker room, less voices are talking.
I mean, there's Twitter,
but
there's Instagram Live, there's a whole lot of different things.
Well, I get it. But here's the thing about Sean Payton, though. Considering that they had won 8 straight games without Brees starting up until the game that they played Sunday against Philadelphia. Yeah. That is a remarkable record. But I think the fact that they're now chasing New Orleans, chasing the Green Bay Packers, that's why Brees is going to start this week.
Israel Gutierrez, where are you on this?
Yeah, I think he should start. And I don't think this has anything to do with the opponent, even though he's not 100%. I think this has to do with the time of year. If you look back to last year where he missed several games early in the season, yes, he came back pretty good. He had a couple of, janky games in there, but by the time he got rolling 6 or 7 games in, he had a game last year. Do you remember 29 of 30? Yeah. Remember that game? I mean, he was absolutely brilliant toward the end of last season, and they need him to get back into that form. And if it only has a couple weeks left to do so, then you might want to start now against the Kansas City defense that's not intimidating, right? In fact, if you get into a shootout with them, maybe he can get into some sort of a rhythm there. So I definitely think they should play him because by far he gives them the best chance to win, but he has to be in a rhythm. He wasn't early this year. He was right before he got hurt. Hopefully he can get back into it.
Clinton, I'm sensing from your previous answer where you're going to go with this, but in a case of a number 2 defense versus a number 1 offense, who are you taking?
In this case, I'm taking the defense when I know that the quarterback is hobbled in the most wonderful time of the year, Israel.
Well, the quarterback is on the number 1 offense. It's the number 2 defense is New Orleans, Clinton.
That's why I'm taking the... No. You're not hearing what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm taking the defense of the Chiefs. I don't care about the rankings because Drew Brees is not...
They were neither the number 1 or number 2, but now I'm following you. Sarah Spain, New Orleans has the number 2 defense. Kansas City is the number 1 offense. You're following me now here.
Yeah.
Who you got on Sunday?
I'm with you. Yeah. I got you. Yeah. I'm still taking the number 1 offense, especially in this matchup, because what we've seen from the Chiefs all year is they save their best stuff for the best teams. And so even though this Saints defense is great, I think the Chiefs have a bunch up their sleeve that they haven't even showed us yet.
They've saved a lot for the last possession or so. They've won 5 straight games by 1 possession. Frank Isola, who you got on Sunday?
What do they say? You need lane integrity. You cannot allow Mahomes to get out when he's running. He still can throw the ball, just like what Lamar Jackson did the other night. Kansas City will win. I am going to pick Kansas City to win every game. It's impossible to see Mahomes ever
And
win.
Israel.
Yeah, pressure's not the same with every quarterback. I got Patrick Mahomes avoiding the pressure and winning anyway.
We'll move on. ACC Championship,
Sounds
Notre
smart.
Dame, Clemson. Notre Dame's first, of course, and it sets up to be a classic. But is it a must-win for Clemson? Might this committee have them in no matter what? You saw the previous standings. How many two-loss teams are ahead undefeated teams? Israel, who has the edge in this rematch? And is it really a must-win team? Must-win game for either team? Excuse me.
Yeah, I think Clemson has the edge, and I think it's pretty simple, right? You go with the last game with DJ Uiagalelei as the quarterback, and they lose in overtime. Well, they've won by 35 points in the couple games after that, and I do think that they can go ahead and beat Notre Dame this time. I think both teams are in if the games are close, and I think if the team that loses gets blown out, they have a serious chance. Clemson, I think clearly with the second loss and one of them being blown out, is gone. And I think Notre Dame, if they are blown out, leaves. And I think of all the years, if there's ever a year, if you want to do something squirrely or do something different, this is the year. And I do think that if you blow out Notre Dame as Clemson in this championship, then you say, okay, Notre Dame beat them with their backup quarterback. They can't win a national championship anyway. We can justify leaving them out.
Really?
That's what I
Okay.
think
So
will
you
happen.
think if it's a blowout, Clemson big over Notre Dame gets knocked out. Frank Isola, how about you?
Now, Notre Dame has such a good offensive line and defensive line. It's hard for me to see them getting blown out. I disagree, though. I think they've already beaten Clemson. I think they're going to be in. Clemson needs this game, and if you're Texas A&M, that's who you're rooting for. You need Notre Dame to win this game, get Clemson out. I would think, unless Notre Dame gets blown out and Ian Book gets hurt, let's remember, guys, it's Notre Dame. We know what ratings they bring, especially this year with all these games that have been canceled and postponed. They want Notre Dame in that final.
Glenn Yates?
I think Frank's right. The TV show element to this very much helps Notre Dame in 2020 when we're eyeball testing everything. But it's not like the backup quarterback was some bum in the game against Notre Dame. He threw for 400 yards. That was a serious football game. I don't know how much better Clemson gets, frankly, with Trevor outside of just style points. And that matters, but I don't think that they're going to have a better result or get to the point where they're blowing the Irish out. Clemson needs this a lot more than Notre Dame.
Sarah Spain?
I see it for sure.
I do agree that Clemson needs this win more than Notre Dame. I think they'll both be in unless something major like an injury happens that we think is going to affect their ability to play well in a playoff. I think I've got Clemson in this one because if you look at the game last time, it was about as close as it gets, and everything pretty much swung the way of Notre Dame. Clemson had 3 fumbles. They only had 5 across the rest of their games all season long. This was the only game where they allowed a team to convert on more than 40% of their third downs. This was everything going the way of Notre Dame, and they still barely got the W. So you insert Trevor Lawrence and a couple things go the way of Clemson. I think Clemson gets
So you've got Clemson. Clinton, you answered who needs it more. Do you believe Clemson gets it?
No, I think Notre Dame wins this football game.
You got Notre Dame. The path to victory for the Irish is what, Clinton?
The path to victory for the Irish is what they do well, which is run the ball, keep the ball, and make sure the tight ends get that thing so that they can stay safe and the ball's not in the hands of Clemson, who scores.
Frank Isola?
I think Clemson will win. A 2-loss Clemson team cannot make it over Texas A&M. I'm sorry.
Gutierrez.
I think Clemson wins, but now I've just changed my mind thanks to Frank. I think Notre Dame would still get in with a blowout loss at number 4.
You changed your mind because Frank's argument was so compelling? Or because
Nailed it.
It's New York's team. Notre
we'll
Dame.
move on. Big Ten Championship also this weekend. Ohio State's second game in 28 days. Big is what Buckeye defensive back Shaun Wade says his team needs to come with. Quote, we've only played 5 games. Everybody else in the nation has played 8 or more. We have to show the world what we can do. Clinton, does Ohio State need to win big to show the world?
I believe so. Look, the season that the Big Ten has had so far, the whole reason why we've been concerned about the number of games they play is because we're not sure what their competitive level is. And so in the case of Ohio State, in which a lot of people think they probably deserve to be there anyway, you better show it to us. These games are coming up soon. There is a timing element here that is extremely important. If they squeak by Northwestern, they're not going to look like a team that deserves to play in the playoff, and they won't be.
Sarah Spain?
In a normal year, I would say absolutely. They've played so few games. They need to get a really convincing win because they need to prove that they belong. But this is not a normal year. And based on what I've seen from the college football playoff rankings thus far, they decided who they thought would be good. And then those teams looked pretty good. And so then they decided they will be good, regardless of what they see from them. So I don't think it's going to change. I think we're going to see the same top four that we've seen, as long as there isn't some absurd or terrible injury. I think even if they lose, they might still find a way to squeak them in.
Israel Gutierrez?
Yeah, you're not going to really find an argument for me against Ohio State at this point, again, because I just go back to the TV situation, right? Like, I do think they're going to beat Northwestern, and I do think that the Big Ten has been bad, so it really doesn't matter that they beat Northwestern by a bunch. It's not going to tell you that they're top four, but it is Ohio State, and they are ridiculously intriguing, and they have a great quarterback, and you put them in that national semifinal, even though they've been there so often, they are going to draw a lot of eyes. So I think Ohio State, regardless of the size of the win, is going to get it.
Okay, Sarah just said even with a loss they could be in. Are you on that boat?
Probably not. That would be a little bit too much.
Okay, so Sarah didn't sway you there. Good to know. All right. Frank Isola, how about you?
Well, I think there'll be a lot of screaming if they were to lose and get in, but of course we're going to root for chaos. I think Texas A&M should get in if Ohio State were to lose. I think if they win the game, I don't think it matters how many points. I think they're going to put him in. Clinton had said recently, you know what, forget about even the Big Ten championship game, just put him in the college football playoff. I think Ryan Day agrees with that. I think the people on the committee agree with that. Those four teams, it's hard to see them getting knocked out, except for Clemson.
I can't get any of you guys to answer anything other than the college football committee wants the best show come those final two games.
They do.
Yeah. You brought up Texas A&M a couple times. Nobody brought up Cincinnati. Nobody brought up Coastal Carolina. These are undefeated teams. The Clears!
The top eight.
Honestly, I'm watching right now. The Sun Belt Championship has been canceled, so Coastal Carolina ends their season here. What bowl is going to have the onions to put the Chanticleers in? I'm looking at you, Fiesta Bowl. We'll be back with
Myrtle Beach Bowl. We want it to happen.
Around the Horn is presented by Bullet Bourbon Frontier Whiskey. Highly awarded High Ride, coming to you from the Seaport District at Pier 17.
Aliens who came down to Earth 7 days ago, who've only seen the Chargers win close games at the gun, must be thinking, this is the most clutch franchise ever. How about this team? Herbert tying the rookie touchdown record. Gruden wearing the wrong hat. The Raiders collapsing again late in the season. Good wins on their resume, terrible losses on their resume for the team. Sarah, it's been 3 years for Gruden. Do you question the Raiders are trending in the right direction?
It's tough because what's always on our minds is the paycheck that he's getting and the fact that he kind of felt like a laughingstock at the beginning. So everything he does well after that feels better than it is. But last year was the last 6 of the 7 that they lost this year. They've lost 4 of their last 5, and that only win was barely beating the winless Jets. There has to be something about the way he doesn't adjust or change his game plans that allows other teams to see them and beat them late in the season. It needs to be fixed. They're still doing better than I thought under him, but...
Israel?
I'm still looking at the trend overall from 4-12 to 7-9 to whatever he ends up this year. You look at the offense and you see that personnel seems to be rounding out pretty well. Feels like Derek Carr's a quarterback you can win with. This is the team that beat Kansas City and played them close, and you have people wondering how tough of an out are they going to be. I think that's still trending upward regardless of these last couple of games.
Frank Isola, is that the team you saw last night?
I'll tell you what, Tony, you're questioning what was on his head. I'm questioning what was in his head. He challenged a first down pass for 2 yards. What was that all about? And when you talk about trending, let's remember, he's in a division with Kansas City, and then how about that quarterback on the Chargers, Justin Herbert? And you know that John Elway's always looking to get better, so they're in for a long haul. He's not going anywhere because of that contract.
Yeah, what was up with that challenge? 2-yard play? I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't know.
I think
Yates, how about you?
It would have been 2nd and 8.
What's trending upward for once is the quarterback situation in Oakland. In Las Vegas. Listen to me saying it. But look, if Marcus Mariota is going to come in and turn into the guy that we thought that we saw at Oregon for once, I'm sorry. I am pumped about that.
You're pumped about Mariota's performance. Okay.
That was stunningly tremendous. He looked like a guy who knows what he's doing.
Stunningly tremendous.
Ask out of a quarterback in this league. I loved it. Yes, you lose the game.
They lost the game.
To me is a positive in this situation.
Okay. Yes, it was. And you got to feel good for him. Got to feel good for the Chargers with Justin Herbert going forward. I mean, that rookie record, I know everybody's throwing the ball more now, but the guys he's passing, Peyton Manning's rookie season, Russell Wilson's rookie season, that's incredible. We'll move on. Buy or sell too, the latest on a James Harden trade. Is there a mystery team? Is the field expanding larger than Philadelphia? Brooklyn, as Shams Charania reports. Frank, what are you hearing here?
To me, there's a lot of negotiating via the media. I do believe that Philadelphia is still the team, but I don't know. Chicago Bulls, could they make a run at it? What about the New York Knicks, who are desperate for a star? And never rule out the Golden State Warriors. They might have a little bit or enough to get a deal done. They got that Minnesota lottery pick. You have Andrew Wiggins. Who knows?
So talk me through that. That's Wiggins and a lottery pick. You think if everything falls off, that could be a deal Houston would take for Harden?
I think the Golden State Warriors believe that the culture they have, much like in Miami, that if he were to go there, he could be really effective.
Israel Gutierrez, what are you hearing?
Well, you hear Miami involved in this, and normally when you hear Miami involved in trade talks, it's because it's not going to happen because they don't let things leak. However, when it comes to these franchises and their history of just getting the big name player, Miami's done it with Shaq and LeBron and Chris Bosh, and they seem to be the team that can go do it. Whether or not that's going to happen, whether or not they have enough pieces or draft picks, I guess that's...
Yeah, talk me through that. What would Miami have to give up here? You tell a Miami Heat fan, Tyler Hero, and right now, and they wouldn't trade LeBron with Tyler Hero. Go ahead.
If you're Houston, it's got to start with Tyler Hero and that draft pick that you have. So I don't think that Heat fans can get Harden for nothing. It's just not going to happen.
Dara Spain.
Yeah, I'm hearing that Frank avoided your question about what the Warriors would have to give up for Houston to want that deal, and now Izzy's trying to figure out what the Heat would want to give up. No. He answered that the Warriors would give Harden a good spot. He didn't answer whether Houston would get back anything
Andrew
worth
Wiggins
giving
and
up Harden.
pick.
And that's the problem. No. That's the problem with this issue, is that not only does Houston have to get back enough to feel like it's worth giving up a superstar, but other teams have to want James Harden, feel like he's going to stick around, stick through the 2 years. Like, this is why it's such a mess, because every follow-up is like, well, yeah, actually, maybe not then.
But he did say Wiggins and a lottery pick, or Minnesota's pick, I should say. So Frank did answer the question. Israel was a little bit dodgy there. Clinton Yates, how about you?
And this is exactly why I would not have been playing James Harden. The guy shows up looking like the round mound of impound instead of something that you want to give off to a bunch of other people. And the worst case scenario is if he actually stays with the team going through all this other stuff. You need to get rid of him. Play him, or don't play him, but make sure you trade him and daggone sure discuss it in the media, because that is not what you want.
Let the record show the last round mound did pretty well in the NBA, all right? Barkley's a Hall of Famer, so that's not necessarily something...
Zion's not bad.
Okay. All right. I still got to see.
You want all the names, Tony?
If you're Miami, Israel, would you trade? I know, but I know the fans would never part with Hero. Would you trade Hero for a shot at James Harden to team him up with Bam and, of course, Butler?
If I'm Pat Riley, and I know Heat fans are going to hate this, I say yes. I go for that certain championship in the next 3 years. That's Jimmy Butler's
window. All right, that's an answer.
Right?
At least we got an answer there. All right, Sarah Spain came after Ice. That didn't work well for her. Gutierrez took forever to answer the question. Yates, nice outfit today, Clinton Yates. I'm getting very much in the Christmas spirit. And Frank Isola, you're also wearing clothes. Fire sale, done. Showdown next.